So in order to jailbreak your switch, it's pretty simple, but not all switches can be jailbroken or modded. So in order to see if yours can be, you have to go to ismyswitchpatch.com. Now, on the bottom of your Nintendo Switch, next to the charging port, there's going to be a serial number that starts with one of these characters. If your characters aren't listed here, it most likely means that your Switch is patched and it can't be modded. If your serial number is not on the bottom of your Switch because it got rubbed off for whatever reason, you could go into the settings, into the system, and you should find it there. As you see here, mine starts with XAW10055, and my Switch is not patched. However, if you get this red icon, it means your Switch is patched and there's nothing you can do. Unfortunately, you can't mod or jailbreak your Switch. If you get a yellow look or a yellow tag, it means it's possibly patched. You can proceed with this whole process. There will be no consequences to it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. However, if it does, lucky for you, you have a Switch that's unpatched that just doesn't register as one. Now, once you know that your Switch is unpatched and ready to go ahead and be jailbroken, you need these 4 things here. You need an RCM jig, which I have shown here. You need a micro SD card of at least 64 gigabytes and a way to read the micro SD card on your computer, and a USB Type-C cable to go from the Switch to the computer itself. Now, I have a link for everything you'll need in the description down below, as well as what I'm using if you want to go ahead and check those out for yourself. But once you have everything all set up and ready, we can continue on with downloading everything we need to put onto our SD card. So the first thing we need is Tegra RCM GUI. Everything's in the description down below. There's 2 versions, the installer and the portable version. The installer is going to install it to your PC, while the portable version can just be used straight from a folder, so you can put this on SD card if you want to, or a flash drive. I recommend the portable, so we're going to go ahead and click that, and that's going to download. Next, we need Hecate, and this is going to allow us to run an EMU MMC or an EmuNAND, as well as make up a backup of our NAND flash. I'll explain more of that later on, but we're going to scroll down and we're going to click the first one on this list here. Now, the links in the description are going to bring you to the release page. Just make sure that you are downloading the latest version when you do so. So just click on the first one, which is that .zip file, and then we're going to proceed on to the next page, which is jits.site. Now, this is, if you have been in the game of modding and jailbreaking your Switch, you know exactly who JITS is, but what they do is they make an AIO, which is an all-in-one. This is going to have everything you need, your atmosphere, your SIG patches, everything you need in order to get this up and running. So I really recommend you click on that and download that. So once you have everything downloaded, we're going to go to where we have it downloaded and drag it to our desktop just for easier use and cleanup for later on. Now, once you've done that, we're going to need to go ahead and right click on each of these folders and extract it. Just go ahead and do that. And then once that's done, we could go ahead and take our micro SD card, put it into the computer, and we're going to need to put some files on that card. Now, before I forget, if you've never used an SD card on your Switch, you're going to want to put the SD card into your Switch right now, power on your Switch, and you may be prompted to update the Switch. Just go ahead and do so. Once that's done, completely turn off the Switch, put the SD card into the computer, and then we'll go ahead and drop those files in. Now, as you see here, mine is already set up for jailbreaking on the Switch. I'm going to go ahead and format that. However, if you were using an SD card before this, you may have a Nintendo folder and some other things within it. That's going to have all your screenshots and things like that. So if you don't want to get rid of that, don't format. You don't have to. I'm formatting just to start off fresh. Now, the first thing we need to do is open up that JITS folder to just insert the stuff. And you're going to see all this here. Drag and drop that to your SD card. Now, once that's done, we could go ahead and open up the Hecate folder. Within the Hecate folder, there's going to be a .bin file. We're going to take that .bin file and we're going to drag and drop it into our Tegra RCM folder. We're going to need that later. Once you've done that, go ahead and take that bootloader folder and drag it to your SD card. Once that's done, you could close out the bootloader folder, and then we're going to go ahead and open up Tegra RCM. Now, within Tegra RCM, there's another folder. Take that Hecate file, put it into that folder, and then take that folder and drag it to the desktop, and it should just uniform everything. From here, we're going to open up this application, the Tegra RCM GUI. Once you go ahead and open that up, we're going to need to now go to settings, and then we need to install the drivers. So just go ahead and click that, press yes. You're going to get a pop-up, press yes to allow it, and then you're going to get this wizard here, press next, and then finish. And now we have the drivers installed. It's just that quick. Now we need to go ahead and press the folder with the little search icon. We're going to click that, and we're going to find that Hecate file that we put within the Tegra RCM folder. Click on that, And now we could go ahead and take our SD card out of our computer, put it into the switch, and we're ready to jailbreak. So once you have your SD card into your switch and your switch is completely turned off, we need to take the right Joy-Con out and take that RCM jig. We're going to slide that into the rail of the right Joy-Con all the way down. Now you want to make sure that is all the way down and perfectly set onto the rail. And then we're going to press volume up and power at the same time. Nothing should happen. The switch should stay off. However, if the switch boots on, it just means that you did it wrong. We're going to want to go ahead and turn the switch off and try again. But if it did work, we're then going to go ahead and plug our switch into the computer, and we should get this here, RCM OK. If you get that green mark, then you did everything correctly and your switch is in recovery mode. Now, we just need to go ahead and click that inject payload button. And if everything all went well, you should get this pop up here on your switch, which now means that you're in Hecate. Congratulations, you're almost there. So now from here, you could go ahead and pop out the jig, put your Joy-Con back in, set the date if you want to. You don't really have to, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel that out. It really doesn't make a difference. And then once you're here, there's a couple of different things you can do. So going into tools, you can go ahead and make a backup of your NAND. This is going to essentially just give you a complete backup of your Nintendo Switch. If you happen to ever get into a trouble, if you break your Switch or whatever, you can go ahead and you can flash the NAND back to stock or exactly where your Switch was when you made it. This is a great way to just ensure that you're never stuck with a brick Switch. So if you want, you could go ahead and make a backup of that, put it somewhere on your computer or a flash drive, and just keep that for a case of emergencies. Now, if you go back to the home screen, you have EMU MMC. This is going to create a virtual version of your Nintendo Switch as it is right now with all the settings, all of its downloaded games onto your SD card. Now, what you want to do is go into your Switch without any jailbreak, and you want to turn off all internet and all of Wi-Fi settings. You want to make sure that it's just a fresh Switch because anything that you have downloaded will be virtualized onto the SD card. But what this allows you to do is essentially run a jailbreak version of your Nintendo Switch as well as a clean version of your Nintendo Switch. Now, if you don't want to do that, you could just go ahead and press payloads and hit fusey.bin, and it's going to jump you straight into your jailbroken Switch. If you happen to have any problems that pop up here, let me know in the comments down below. I'll try to help you out. But that EMU MMC, you're definitely going to want to go ahead and do that if you're planning on doing some shady stuff. If you want to, like I said, turn off all your Wi-Fi settings, get a fresh Switch if you need to, create that EMU MMC, and then once you're in that, you can do whatever you want as long as the Wi-Fi is off and you never connect to Nintendo services. And then when you want to do normal Switch activity, you're going to turn the Switch off and just turn it on normally, and it'll boot into your normal Switch, and it'll seem as if you've never done anything to it. That EMU MMC is not going to touch the internal storage of your Nintendo Switch, and that's highly recommended for people who want to do a little bit extra with their jailbroken Switch. But once your Switch is up and running, we're going to go ahead and click on album, and that's how we're going to launch the homebrew menu. From here, with that AIO that we installed, we get the AIO updater, Jailbreak, reboot to payload, the tinfoil installer, more information with the link in the description down below, check out that video, and the USB file transfer, which just allows you to transfer files from the computer to the Switch's SD card without ever having to take the SD card out. Just keep in mind, if you turn the Switch off or reboot it, you do have to go ahead and push that payload back again in order to get into the jailbroken Nintendo Switch. Now, you can either do this before or after, but the SD card or the just enter the stuff, you have that atmosphere folder. You're going to open it up. This is also on your SD card. And you have a file here called reboot payload. You're going to copy that name, and then you're going to go into where you had the .bin file of the Hecate. So you're going to go to Tegra RCM, which is where I have it currently, to that Hecate file, and you're going to rename that to reboot to payload. Now, once that's renamed, you're going to copy that or take it and put it onto your SD card, wherever the other version was, and then it's going to update. Now, whenever you go ahead and press reboot to payload, it's going to reboot to Hecate and not just reboot over like you would if you just press restart the system. All right, so there you go. Your Nintendo Switch is now jailbroken. If you happen to have any questions or need help, let me know in the comment section down below, or check out my Discord. Links are in the description. That's pretty much it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you on the next one.